A warm Wizard World welcome for Aaron Roberts and Kyle Phillips.
Hello, everyone.
Are you our moderator? What is your name?
My name's Aonika Cosplay.
Nice. Are you the moderator?
Yes, I'm the moderator, believe it or not.
Awesome. Or MC, I don't know.
MC, moderator.
What the proper nomenclature is.
Random stranger.
VJ. You're the VJ.
I like that too.
Does anyone know what a VJ is?
Or maybe he'd be a PJ for a panel jockey.
If you're over 30, you might know what a VJ is.
Uh-huh.
V, I'm saying V, by the way.
It is noon, right? Is it noon?
Yep.
Awesome.
It is
so
noon 01.
Oh, crap. So we're a minute behind. Hi, my name is Aaron Roberts. I'm the voice of Kamui Woods. And this is my buddy.
I'm Kyle Phillips. I'm the voice of Denki Kaminari in a little show called My Hero Academia.
Nice.
Woo! Has everyone seen Heroes Rising?
Not really. I need to catch up so much.
Well, it's non-canon, so you can just watch it whenever you want.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I need to catch up though. Still have season 1.
Awesome. Nice Splatoon cosplay, by the way.
Okay, there we go. I just need to talk closer to it. Sweet.
Love your mic.
Yeah, So how's everyone doing today? What are we doing? Are we just taking questions? What's the plan here?
Well, it is after all a Q&A, so I suppose there will be some questions.
Okay.
I'll have a few general questions, and then the audience will, I'm sure, no doubt, have an ocean of questions.
An ocean of questions. A Pacific Ocean of questions?
Or Atlantic. Or both.
Or a Great Lakes worth of questions, right? Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Let's do some questions.
All right. Well, first up, what is your? This is for both of you. What is your favorite trait about your character? It can be anything. Their personality, their quirk, anything.
I think my character, it's no mystery that Kamui Woods is based on Spider-Man, or modeled after Spider-Man. And I've been lucid dreaming my entire life. And usually, like when even like when I was a kid, when I lucid dream, I used to choose to fly. And then at some point, I think this is after I started playing like Ultimate Spider-Man on the original Xbox. I'm old. Every time I was lucid dream, I would start web slinging through a city. And it's freaky because in my dream, I can actually feel the tension of the web pulling on the skin of my wrist. It's weird. It's very strange. But after you start web slinging in your dreams, flying around like Superman just seems really two-dimensional. But yeah, I think that's, because I'm a comic book collector. That's something that I do for fun. But yeah, the fact that he's modeled after Spider-Man is my favorite thing in the world.
Oh, Spider-Man, hell yeah. I like Kaminari, the fact that he can kind of hang out with anyone. You know, he'll hang out and perv out with Mineta a little bit, but then he'll bro out with Kirishima, and then him and Kirishima and Bakugo will all hang out, you know. And I like that, like, everyone's afraid of Bakugo except for Kaminari. Like, Kaminari will just straight up call Bakugo, he'll say his personality is a flaming crap mixed with garbage, and just like, no big deal. And he calls him Kachan, and he's like, come on, man, you know, so he's weirdly, like, not confident, but, like, he is, but it's just because he's a relaxed dude. And
do you think he's not threatened because he's a traitor?
Raise your hand if you think Kaminari is the traitor. Just me. And what is your name? Just me and Addie. Okay. I don't think actually he's the traitor, but I want him to be. Because think about it, if he is the traitor, what if the whole derpy overusing his quirk thing, what if that's just an act? He would immediately become the most powerful character in the show, way more powerful than Kamui Woods. Right?
Dude, I'm the number 7 hero in the city. I'm above All Might. I'm just not in the show very much.
But yeah, no, I like that Kaminari can just kind of, he's comfortable in any circle of friends.
So what you're saying is he's the potential Jar Jar Binks of the My Hero universe.
Misa gonna shoot lightning at you.
This panel is over. I am a huge Star Wars nerd, and you have just offended me greatly.
The secret Sith Lord thing. conspiracy.
Oh my
Anyway.
god.
It makes sense. I watched that video. Totally makes sense. It reads.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. That's fine. Whatever.
Next.
If you could voice any other character in the My Hero universe besides your own, which one would you choose and why?
Man, I'm a huge I'm a huge anti-hero fan. And I'm a big fan of and I could be biased. Rob McCullum was my best man at my wedding, and he is the voice of Hero Killer Stain. And if I could voice anyone else in the universe, I'd voice Stain.
You would take away your best friend's role.
Yeah. Are you not an actor? What is?
When I auditioned for My Hero, I auditioned for Kaminari, Bakugo, and Shigaraki because I really like playing villains, and I don't get to do it a lot. That's another reason why I want Kaminari to be the traitor, because that'd be fun to play a villain. So honestly, probably Bakugo if I could voice anyone else. Just because. That said, for Heroes Rising, that was the first time I actually watched any My Hero front to back. Actually, anything I've ever been in, and I felt really bad for Cliff because I've never heard someone just scream so hard. Like, just when he's talking, he's just like, "You're an idiot, Deku!" And he's just like constantly yelling. It's like, "Oh, Cliff, your vocal cords."
Yeah.
So I say Bakugo, but maybe not. Shigaraki is my answer.
I'm interested, and just to interject real quick, because I think you and I have come from slightly different paths in getting into this industry, and I think it might be interesting to talk about how we got into this to begin with.
Absolutely.
What was your path?
So I started at Funimation in 2008 as an ADR engineer. Anyone know what an ADR engineer is? That's cool. Got a thumbs up there from the Trekkie. ADR is automated dialogue replacement, and so that just means, like, if you're watching a movie and like it's like an outdoor scene and it's really windy, and there's the audio guy with the boom. Sometimes if it's like too windy, you can't really use that audio, so they just go in the booth and then record the lines. So they replace the dialogue via some sort of computerized automation. ADR, and it's fine. But like for a movie, you just do a little bit. You can usually tell when it's like really bad ADR if like someone's like running off like scene and they're like, "Hey man, I'm coming," and it's like, why didn't he sound like he was actually running? He'll just like whatever. So what we do at Funimation is all ADR because we're taking the Japanese dialogue and getting rid of it and replacing it with English. So that's what I started off doing, and then I immediately, so I saw actors 8 hours a day every day just doing my job, and I was like, that looks fun. And then I was working on a show called Triple X Holic. Any Triple X Holic fans? Oh my gosh. And Monica Rial was my director, and she needed someone to be Big Spirit in episode 24. And I was like, can I do it? And she was like, yeah, sure. And so I hopped in there and I went, and she kept it. And it was great. And ever since then, I was like, that was fun. I'm going to keep trying to do this. And here I am.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now you're a director as well.
Now I'm a director. Any Fire Force fans? Okay, cool. All right.
I'm contemplating.
Season 2 is coming in July. I did direct Ancient Magus Bride. Any Magus Bride fans? Oh, I love that show so much.
I played the only Muggle in that show, David Varley.
You are David Varley.
Yeah, no magic powers.
But yeah, I haven't, and I'm directing now, and it's great. Watch Fire Force because Aaron Roberts is in it as Benimaru.
Shinman. Yeah, he's the best.
How did you get started?
I'm theater trash. I've been doing theater forever. People have been paying me to act for, I guess, 20 years. And I was working a 40-hour-a-week job doing back-to-back shows at night at local theaters in Dallas, Texas. And I did a show about the race to invent television. It was like an ensemble show, and everyone was playing 4 different parts. And I was speaking Russian and doing an upstate New York thing and a couple other accents. And Joel McDonald, who was a director at the time up at Funimation, he was in the show with me. And after the show, actually to be perfectly honest, I don't even think he was talking to me. I think he was out to lunch and he said to someone else, "Hey, well, I think I'm going to give everyone an audition after the show's over." I was like, "Yes, I'll take one of those, please." Yeah, so I went up and the first show that I ever auditioned for, I think, was Level E.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of a knockoff of Men in Black, with like aliens and like men in black suits and whatever. But anyway, and I played a detective and also like this radio guy, baseball announcer. And after I got done with that experience, because I grew up in a very religious household, my dad's a Southern Baptist preacher, and I, for whatever reason, was not allowed to watch anime, which in retrospect seems more like a racist, xenophobic decision than a religious one. But anyway, so I had very limited exposure to anime growing up. And after I got done with that first session for Level E, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I can for sure act on stage, but there's something that I'm missing. So I went and watched the first 12 episodes of Fairy Tail.
Yeah.
And then I watched High School of the Dead, which was great. Those are two very different shows. But I was like, man, like this is the vocal style I'm going for. And then I thought, okay, I've got these 5 voices that I for sure can do and modulate. If I just keep on throwing these things against the anime wall, eventually something is going to stick. And I was right. And then I think the very next audition that I had was for a show called Toriko for Tyler.
Oh, Toriko.
And that was right out of the gate. I got a supporting lead role in that show.
You have fabulous rainbow hair in that
Totes.
show.
Totes. And that was like 8 or 9 years ago.
Man.
And here I am. Now I'm anime trash.
Actually, Aaron, I have a couple of questions for you based on that.
Oh God.
As far as working 40 hours a week in acting and doing voicing, what did you do to keep your voice fresh and yourself like stage ready?
Whiskey. Lots of whiskey and sleep. I don't know. I didn't really sleep that much, man. I just had such a. I am a theatrical, I'm a stage carpenter, I'm a master carpenter, and I also build sets on the side. That's another one of my side hustles in addition to voice acting. But yeah, at the time I was working for a really crappy company, working a retail job. But I was barely sleeping, but I just wanted it so bad. Could I do that now? No, I can't. I'm too old.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. How did you do it? Be in your 20s.
Yeah. This is definitely a young man's game. But yeah, I wanted it real bad. Fortunately, I had a flexible job that allowed me to, like, I was the most knowledgeable person at that company, and so I was able to do whatever I wanted. And so I was able to leave and go to Funimation and come back and make it work. But yeah, I was very, very fortunate.
And the other sort of part of that is being locked away from the anime. How did you find anime? How did you stumble across it? Did you look for it?
The only exposure that I had, so on Sunday mornings, when I was a kid, I remember when I was 8, I would get up super early before we go to church on Sundays. And for whatever reason, this crazy show called Unico, anybody? There's like 3 episodes. You can watch it all. Nice. You can watch it all on YouTube. You should totally, after you come to our tables and get signings, you should go and watch it. There's like 3 episodes. They're each like 45 minutes long, and there's a tiny little cutie unicorn that hangs out with like the son of the devil, and like these other in these weird ethereal realms. And then when things go down, like when people get in trouble and his friends are in danger, it beast modes out into this giant unicorn and like shoots love from its horn. I don't know. And it was so strange. I just remember as an 8-year-old kid and watching this cartoon. Like, there's a puppet master that was like kidnapping people and turning them into puzzle pieces and building a castle out of them. And I thought, man, this is not right. Something is wrong. But yeah, that was the only thing I saw. And then I think at some point, and depending on how high you hold your pinky up when you drink your anime tea, you can pronounce it Akira or Akira. But that was my only other exposure. And then of course I saw the Studio Ghibli films and things like that, Princess Mononoke and whatever. But yeah, that was it until I did research.
Princess Mononoke. So when I was in middle school, every year when we took the standardized test, they took the whole grade out to the Dollar Theater to watch a movie. And so you could pick between like 4 films. And so Princess Mononoke was one of them. And so I was like, well, I want to watch that. And they were like, okay, it's PG-13 or whatever. Like, sure, go ahead. And it's like, has everyone seen Princess Mononoke? It's like bloody and gory and insane. And so like, there's a chaperone in every theater and they're like, what are we watching? And we're all like, whoa, like, middle schoolers just like having a good time. It was great.
That's amazing.
And I was gonna say, Kyle, was that your first experience with anime? And if not, how did you discover anime?
About the same time, before Toonami. So Toonami is, I don't know if it's every night, but it's definitely Saturday nights. But back in the day, it used to be like 3 p.m. to like 5 p.m. And I still remember the first anime thing I ever watched was in Dragon Ball Z when Krillin and Gohan are like on Namek looking over a cliff, looking down at Frieza and the Ginyu Force like messing with some Namekians. I was like, what is this? I'd never seen anything like that before. And then after that, it came on at 4. I got out of school at 4:05, so I would schedule my VCR. Yeah, Trekkie dude, like, yeah, VCR, remember that. I had a tape that I would just tape over and over again, but I would schedule it to start at 4. I'd get home and I would just wait until 4:30, and then I could watch the episode, and I would watch Dragon Ball Z. And then that opened up the door to Gundam Wing, Cowboy Bebop, and Yu Yu Hakusho. So I just kind of watched all those Toonami shows. And I got so into Dragon Ball Z, eventually I was like, it's censored on Toonami. So then I would watch it, and I would watch the episode on Toonami, and then I think it was like 3 days later, on the Spanish channel, you could watch it uncensored. And so I knew what was happening. I couldn't understand what they were saying, but I was just like, oh, the blood! It was like, little middle school me was just so excited to see it uncensored. So that was my introduction to anime.
Nice.
Bloody good fun.
Yeah.
And then I'll have one more question, then I'll open it up for the audience to bring questions. And when you bring a question, just sort of raise your hand, and I'll just sort of pick one of you, and you'll tell me your question, and I'll repeat it. All right? But if you could voice a character in any anime in the anime universe,
Oh my gosh.
which one would you pick and why?
I'll let you go first.
Lord.
All the voices I want to do, I get. So.
That's awesome.
Betty Maru Shinmon is my answer.
How dare you? Man, I think his name. There was one character that I auditioned for that I didn't get. I didn't realize I didn't get it because it was what we call a working audition, where I got paid and I went in and recorded for 3 hours on this One Piece character. I think his name is Kumadori. He's like one of like the 7 deadly assassins of this group, and he had this like trademark like yo noise that he would make, and I would have. It was a very fun character, and I remember I recorded on it, and then several weeks later came in, recorded some other bit parts on One Piece, and I asked Mike McFarlane, I was like, hey man, when's Kumadori coming back? He's like, yeah. Hey man, all those characters have to be approved by Toei in Japan, so I'm sorry. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna amend my hero answer in that I forgot. So we did last year at Fan Expo Dallas, we had a big My Hero panel. We did a live dubbing. So we had like scenes going on, we had scripts, and we would dub it live, and it was a lot of fun. And so like, it's a lot of Sabbat and Briner, Deku and All Might, going back and forth, doing some fights, Cliff yelling, screaming, screeching. And then, we all have little contributions to that. But David Matrenga, who's Todoroki, he's just kind of chilling. And every time someone said their first line, everyone would, be like, oh, yeah. And then it was time for Matrenga's first line, and he just goes, cool. And everyone's like, Todoroki! And I was like, oh my God. That dude just gets to be like, hey. And like everyone goes insane. So I was like, Todoroki is who I would want to voice. But as far as anyone in anime, man, I don't know. There's so much. I've worked on so much. The Judge in Ace Attorney. So It's Kent Williams. He does a great job. But when we were coming up with the voice for the judge, every time Kent would come in, I directed the anime. Whenever I would record him, we would go back and forth to like reestablish it, and it's basically just me and him going at each other. And so I was like, I love this voice so much, and I would like do it at home, and my wife would be like, stop. But then in season 2, the judge's brother shows up, and I was like, oh, who am I going to get to do this? And I was like, me. And so I got to do the judge voice after all, but that's one of my favorite voices.
Man, speaking of Ace Attorney, this is kind of a full circle journey. Before I ever started voice acting, I played that game, and I remember like playing the game. It's like, man, like this is a great character. I would really like. I wish this character had a voice. I'd like to hear it. Like I'd like to be this person one day. And then I remember I went into audition. And this is also a story about fortune favors the bold, because I went into audition. I also like harassed Kyle via text message to cast me in the show. Yeah, I went into audition and I was looking to the side. It's like, man, I wish Max Galactica was in here. I'd love to audition for him. And I auditioned for all the other characters and totally left the audition feeling like I failed. I also felt like I left My Hero audition feeling like I'm just terrible. That was like the worst audition of my life. And then he told me that I was gonna be playing Max Galactica, and that's a bucket list.
You have to do a gorgeous for us.
Gorgeous. I was born Billy Bob Jones, y'all. Anyway,
if you haven't seen the Ace Attorney anime, watch it. It's wonderful.
Amazing.
Just the dub, though.
Awesome. and I just have to quickly say that just goes to show, do the thing. You never know how it's going to turn out. Don't be worried about how afraid you might be that you'll fail. You have to try it. Be the hero plus ultra go beyond.
Yeah, this is something they won't tell you in school, that failure is fun.
And it is.
All right, questions.
Questions are open.
I have this question. I'm not sure. Just general. I have this character that I made for the universe. Original characters OC thing. Named Yo-Yo Shindo. Her quirk is what I call states of matter. Basically, she can melt things as much as metal. She can but what I'm having trouble with is creating a hero costume for her. So far, all I got is these gloves that protect her hands from actually burning from the melted things that aren't supposed to melt at heats people can hold. But I have no idea for a general outfit, something that would work. And I'm just redesigning her because I accidentally made her look like a Class 1B student that was already canon that I didn't even know existed, and I'm still ashamed of that.
Aww.
What if you go full hamburger helper?
Yes.
And just make her entire outfit a giant glove?
I got to hand it to you. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
I was like, where are you going with this?
I need whatever you make off of that. I now own half of it.
Any other questions?
Next. Student here, yes.
So you can have any quirk except for your own. What quirk?
Honestly, because of my theory that Kaminari, because of the Kaminari trader theory that I subscribe to, I'm going to stick with Kaminari because if he doesn't go derp, then he's incredibly powerful. I'm a big Magic the Gathering fan, and I really like red. I like mono red, just red deck wins, and Lightning Bolt is one of my favorite cards, so I'm all about lightning. That's my answer.
Awesome.
I would like the power to not break wind in confined spaces.
You ask too much.
I do.
Back here, you little dude.
My favorite character?
Favorite character in My Hero Academia or in general? All right, favorite character in My Hero Academia.
Midnight.
Ooh.
I'm split between Stain and Todoroki.
Yeah, Todoroki's pretty sweet.
Todoroki's best boy.
He was not as cool in the movie in Heroes Rising as I expected him to be. Yeah, that's all right.
So, to anyone looking to get started in the industry or voice acting, what would be your initial advice to someone who's kind of interested in pursuing that kind of career path?
If you're starting from scratch, make sure you like acting. It's very rare for someone to make any kind of living off of just voice acting, and specifically voice acting in anime. So do community theater, do improv, take acting classes, and if you're like, this is a lot of fun, I like getting in the heads of these characters and creating this stuff, then you can really kind of explore and like get an agent and cut a demo and do all that stuff. I would go about it that way, you know. You don't want to just like buy a bunch like microphones in a booth and like just start doing voices. I mean, you can do that if you want, but that's the hard way. That's the long, slow way to do it. So make sure you like acting, and then you can make voice acting an overall a piece of your overall acting pie.
I need your demo reel and $5,000. No, that's totally right. Voice acting should be an offshoot of other things you do, and that could be like you operating, like having your own YouTube channel, you doing your own podcast, like any form of performance. But I mean, for like $150, you can buy $250. You can buy like a home setup, because you're gonna have to get used to. Because your voice reacts to a microphone differently than it whatever. So and also know that your voice isn't enough. I mean, I totally agree with everything that he said. I would love everyone to get $30,000 worth of student loan debt and go to a 4-year program and do it that way. But that doesn't apparently have to happen anymore. That's a wish that someone had told me. Anyway, so yeah, but you can anything that you're going to be performing or whatever and getting used to whatever. But also, your voice is enough. If you have a crazy, weird voice, the chances of you working at Funimation are pretty high. I remember the first time that I ever met Justin Briner in person, who is a tiny little person. He's got the chest cavity of a broom handle. And I was going to like a DVD release party, and like I was holding he brought some pizzas, and I opened the door, and he was just like, "Oh, thanks." I was like, wow. So if you, there's also, I met another person, this really creeped me out. I was in the lobby at Funimation, and this person was about to go in for a session, and I don't see them up there very often, but her voice sounded like, "Yeah, I've only been drinking Diet Pepsi for 18 years. I was like, yeah, I can hear it. You can hear it. Your entire larynx is coated in Diet Pepsi. Anyway, but your voice is enough, and so you don't have to. I don't know. You have to learn to love the sound of your voice. I used to hate the sound of my voice. By the end of this panel, you may also hate it. But yeah,
work on your cold reading skills.
Yes, you have to be a good cold reader for sure.
Also check out for opportunities to be extras or background people in movies that come up locally. That was fun. I've done that.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn.
In the back this time, in the back. Here, Deku.
Prepare to have your minds blown.
Okay.
Okay? Todoroki, all right? Think of how tornadoes are made.
Okay.
Hot, cold wind.
Yeah.
What if he can exhale tornadoes?
Whoa.
They'd be real small tornadoes, though.
But
They'd be like if he's captured or something, he could go
and like blow a newspaper out of your hand.
Yeah.
Like that's the.
That's cool. I like that. I also like that you're Deku Naruto. That's pretty sweet. Okay, right on.
In the black jacket back here.
Would you consider Tokuyomi's Dark Shadow a stand?
Oh.
Would you consider Dark Shadow a stand?
I don't understand this question. A stand?
JoJo.
I do not know JoJo's Bizarre Adventure at all.
Yeah, I tried to watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I had a hard time. And then like everyone who's a huge JoJo fan is like, no. But listen, you just got to get through the first season. Like, oh, cool. I have to get through 12 episodes before this thing gets good? Neat.
What?
I promise I will eventually, when I have a free day off, I will binge it.
It's hard to, so, I'm a director at Funimation, so I watch anime 8 to 9 hours a day every day. So then to go home and watch more anime, it's hard to get motivated to do that.
Understandable.
But, but I'll try and watch other people's stuff, some of my colleagues' work, if they're like, I think you'd really like that, and I'll check that out. But if it's not a Funimation show, I ain't watching it.
Bob.
UA hat right here. Oh, you've got a Tokiyami cool guy. Yeah, here.
Are you guys dubbing for the new video game coming out? Instead of it being in all Japanese?
It's I think it's being released soonish, but yeah, no English. Yeah, it's because it's licensed differently. Like a lot, because like when like some One Piece games come out and like there's a Fairy Tail game coming out, the assumption is that like we would dub it. We work on the show, but it comes from a different licensing source. So sadly, we don't get to really do those. But if you keep asking, I don't know who's doing the one's justice too, but like, hey, we want to dub. The more you interact with the companies who make this stuff, not Funimation because we just license it, but like the source, the people who make the game, like we want the dub. The more you hit them up on social media, then they'll take notice and be like, okay, maybe we'll look into this. So
I think it's Bandai. So annoy them.
Yeah, annoy Bandai.
Bandai.
What is your brown hat? What you got there? Nice. Oh, nice.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Is that an overhaul plague mask or just a plague mask in general? Sweet. Okay. Nice.
Who, if they were a hero, who would you let into the 1A classroom?
If the band of misfits were heroes, which one would be let into the 1A classroom?
Yeah, as in like if all of a sudden they were good, like if Deku turned them into a good guy.
Yes. It's amazing to hear that. Like he did on Tatum.
Yeah, I feel like Overhaul is the most unique, I'd say, because like I can't think of the guy's name, but there's like the big bruiser, fighting guy, Rapapa. Like we've already got a big strong dude, Sugar Rush. So like I kind of feel like in general, Overhaul would be the most unique, the most different for 1A. So that's what I would say.
Do you read My Hero Academia manga?
Negative.
Yes, that is also a negative.
I've seen some of it. I mean, I've read some of it, but I don't like read it. Okay, I saw that trending. I saw Kaminari arc trending, and I was like, yay! But it was all in Japanese. Do you know what happens?
No, because it wasn't.
Okay, I'm excited.
Just came out.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
You watch Naruto?
I have not.
I'm not either.
Sorry. I see a lot of Naruto cosplayers.
Todoroki.
Do you think Dabi is Toya Todoroki?
No, I feel like he's too young. Right? Wait, who's Toya Todoroki? Is that Todoroki's dad?
No, the missing.
Brother, oh. Maybe. I haven't heard that theory. Does that have some legs?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look into that.
Interesting. I didn't know that either. That's crazy.
It makes sense though, I think.
Do you guys prefer bigger roles in smaller shows or smaller roles in bigger shows?
Oh, good question. And
I'll take this one, Kyle. My desire is every time that I go into the booth is to create the best anime English dub ever. Every time I go in there, I want to do the best work possible and make it better than anything that we've ever done before, and better than the 90s, better than the early thousands or early aughts. So when a director is casting a show, they're not. It's not dubstep. I mean, sorry. The analogy is like it's not dubstep. They're creating a symphony, and so it's I don't know. There's a balance in voices, and I would rather be a part of an overall dub that is amazing than be the lead in something that is terrible. Also, Austin Tindall once said this, and I think this is very true. He said that it's better to not be cast than to be cast and ruin someone's favorite character.
Very good point.
And the smaller roles, you usually get to, those are usually the more interesting, quirky ones. So like I'll be like, hey, Chris Sabat, I've got this role for you. You're a dog. And he's like, cool. But then like we have like a really good time with it, and he's like, we get to say funny lines, like he was a talking dog and he was really like posh. So he'd be like, I don't know why you're asking me. I lick my own butt, you know? So so he had a blast with that role, so that was a lot of fun. So I think, yeah, you get to do more fun stuff with the smaller stuff.
Tiny Roki.
Tiny Roki, I like it.
Aw.
What girl character? In My Hero? I already answered this earlier, I think. Midnight.
I'm a big Mineta fan. I'm also a big Brina Palencia fan.
Mineta's a boy.
What?
That's fine. That's fine.
Cool. The lines are blurry to me sometimes. Cool.
Speaking of Mineta, on another panel at another con, we were talking how it would be fun. There hasn't been like a one-off goofy OVA really yet, and so we thought it'd be awesome if all of a sudden all the UA people woke up and they all looked like Mineta, and Mineta looked like a normal human. Like we thought that'd be really fun.
And they're on the beach.
Yeah.
My apologies.
That would be sweet.
Yes.
Me too. You've been wanting to ask a question.
Aside from your own, which character do you think deserves more screen time?
I'm really glad Sugar Rush, voiced by Chris George, he got I think the most he's ever gotten in the movie Heroes Rising, and I really like his quirk. You know, he turns sugar into like power, and like I feel like that should be used more. So I'd like to see him get some more screen time. But he did get a lot in Heroes Rising, so that was cool.
I'm going to refuse to answer your question and tell you that no one deserves more screen time than Kamui Woods.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Okay. I already know you watched Black Butler. Have you watched Black Butler?
A little bit. Fun story. So when I was getting ready to direct Ancient Magus Bride, up until the last minute, I was going back and forth on whether to do British accents, and I opted not to because it wasn't clear exactly which dialects each character would have. So I bailed at the last minute. But I cast Brian Mathis as Elias Ainsworth based on his Black Butler audition.
Nice.
Continue to your question.
Which character would you voice besides Grimsby?
Listen, I have often been called the poor man's Michael Tatum. Okay. Yeah, I would probably go with Sebastian. But I actually did a voice match for Tatum was out of town or out of country for like 2 weeks, and I had to go in. This is a weird story, but I had to go in to do a voice match for Radiant for the simuldub, which apparently they don't ever change that for the simuldub on the streaming service. They change it for the DVD, so he'll go back in and record that character that I did. But it was a really interesting acting exercise to go in there and try to be Michael Tatum in the booth.
Let's hear it.
Absolutely not.
Oh, come on.
But I will say this: like I went in there and like I on stage, I was in a show years ago at a play, and I went to the director because I felt like I was horribly miscast. I didn't tell him that. You never say that to a director. But I said, hey man, who do you think would be like if you could cast anybody in the world? Is Jeff Bridges who I should model this person after? And he's like, I think Jeff Bridges would be great in this role. I'm like, hell yeah. So then I made choices based on like, what would Jeff Bridges do? But I was in this, I was in the booth, and I was like, man, what would Michael Tatum do? And I found myself, because when I do characters, I mask. I will like take on their facial expressions or whatever's happening in the frame. And so I started doing like Michael Tatum faces. I was just like to do that character. And it was like a paid workshop. Like it really produced some very interesting work, man.
Nice.
And I was like, why have I not done this before? I like put myself in another actor's shoes to make this thing happen. It's crazy.
Is Grell, is that Black Butler?
Yes.
So That's actually probably the most disappointed I've ever been that I didn't get a role. Is I auditioned for Grell, and because I like playing villains, I don't get to do it that often, and that's I think the most I've put into an audition, like just psychopathic, insane, like crazy, and I didn't get it, and I was disappointed. So that's my answer is Grell because I wanted him so bad.
Aww.
I don't even remember. Sorry, I didn't end up watching it, but I wanted it. Glasses.
Okay, so Bakugo and Todoroki fought in the sports festival. If they had a rematch and Todoroki used his fire quirk, do you think Todoroki would?
I don't think so, because with Bakugo's explosion stuff, I feel like he's kind of heat doesn't really get to him that much.
Now, Todoroki could shoot tornadoes at
Well, because if he made a tornado, and then he could make like an ice tornado, or a cold tornado, or a fire tornado. But
Sounds like
I think then Todoroki gets the upper hand.
Yeah, or he melts Bakugo's eyes.
Oh gosh.
Savage.
If you could choose anyone from Class B who you think would be better suited in Class A, who would
Shinso, so that we could really get the Kaminari Shinso ship going hardcore.
Yeah.
What's your answer?
Listen, man, I'm going to tell you two things about me. I watched all of Game of Thrones, and I don't know anybody's names on that show. I'm like, dwarf, eunuch. I can barely remember, and like whenever an anime show, hey, all sports animes look exactly the same to me. And so does your cosplay. And anytime any show goes into a tournament arc, I black out. And I can't remember anything. So I don't know.
I just wanted to put you on the spot.
Thank you very much.
Actually, what you said about Shinso, there is a theory that he's going to be put in Class 1A because of the chapter in the manga.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Nice.
Kirishima.
I feel that my twin Tetsu should be put into Class 1A.
Okay, okay. Who hasn't asked a question yet? Green jacket.
What's your favorite My Hero Academia ship?
Well, I officially endorsed Kamijiro, and it got fortified in the most recent episode of season 4. If you're caught up, with the dub. So yeah, I think so. That
There is I 100% ship Mount Lady in Kamui Woods, but there's one of the most recent manga that came out. They're 100% in a relationship.
Oh, really?
Now give me my pop, Funko. Give me my pop.
I don't endorse Ochaku and Deku.
Aww.
Too lame. Sorry.
Aww.
I like Ochaku and Bakugo.
Spicy.
Because I like the the differences, or what's the word? Opposites attract. Thank you. And yeah, just Deku and Ochaku, they're too similar. They're too nice. Boring.
Who else has not asked a question? Anybody?
Any takers that have not asked a question?
Deadpool.
Yeah, I want to. You said about the OVAs. Why isn't the OVAs dubbed, actually? You take that back to Funimation, actually.
Are there? There's 3 My Hero OVAs?
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't remember what the first one is that Tree into the Dead, and then there's the All Might Rising.
Oh. I don't know.
Man, I had no
I'd
idea.
like to see those.
Yeah, I did not know.
So they're in Japanese?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm very surprised.
I watched them because I was waiting for
Oh.
guys, and it's not happening.
Again, it's like, so, I directed Ancient Magus Bride, and there was 3 OVAs for that, like, a year before the show was released. And so when they first told me I was getting it, I was like, oh, we'll start. And I had it, like, cast in my head, ready to go. And then we just never did it. Because, like games, those are licensed differently. And so sometimes just contract negotiations, they just kind of don't match up with that. So it could same thing. Like, tell them you want it dubbed, you want it dubbed, you want it dubbed. And because we say that all the time. Like, I also directed Overlord. Any Overlord fans? Season 4, come on. And there's the whole Pleiades series, the chibi stuff. I've tried so hard for us to dub those, and it's just kind of, it's all separately done, so as of right now, we will not dub them.
Would knowing Japanese be any beneficial to you guys?
It's not beneficial, but like it wouldn't give you any sort of leg up. I mean, it's because we have translators in house, so if there's ever a question, we can just be like, hey, come listen to this, and they're like, oh yeah, that's this. So it doesn't hurt, but it's not necessarily like any sort of boost.
So we've seen Bakugo character development and Todoroki's character development. Is there anybody that you guys in particular like to see more development in character? We've even seen Endeavor starting to come around. So
Yeah, I'm a big Endeavor fan. I dig it.
I want to see some more Kamui Woods character development. I want to know his past. What made him who he is?
That's probably why we haven't dubbed those OVAs. He's probably heavily featured.
No. Someone over here.
Have you ever read any fanfics that include your characters?
Have you ever read any fan fictions that include your characters?
I don't do this panel anymore, but I used to read 18s. I had an 18 plus panel that I did where I would read yaoi of my characters.
I mean, if I would love to read it. I haven't seen any, but that'd be fun.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! There's a whole there's a sub fandom that has like a romance between Kamui Woods and Death Arms, and there's like if you go on DeviantArt and search those two keywords, you're gonna find some interesting stuff.
You must never go there.
Naruto Deku.
What do you do right now if you didn't get into voice acting or acting?
I'd probably just be a director. I just wouldn't voice act.
I'd probably be a cop. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to work for the CIA. I don't know. I don't know.
Actually, so in high school, I was going to be a video game programmer. That I knew that's what I wanted to do. And my first programming class, I said, never mind. I don't want to do this.
Yes, very similar. Because I loved. I mean, this is before World of Warcraft. I just loved Warcraft. And my plan, I was in an international baccalaureate program in high school and was getting a international baccalaureate degree in computer programming. And right about the time I started getting cast in shows in high school, I finished programming my first game, and I was like, "Good Lord, I don't want to sit in front of a computer for the rest of my life. I can always learn to program in other languages, but like I don't want to. Like I'm decided to take a risk." And the irony is that now that I'm a full-time actor, I spend a ridiculous amount of time in front of a computer. Damn.
What was the name of that game?
Yeah.
What was the name of your game?
No, it was a casino game. It was pretty easy to put together because it was just like a lot of random chance, whatever. I mean, there weren't. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
When you're recording your lines, do you guys have any input into what your characters actually say?
Sometimes. We have a whole adaptive team, so we have a translation team and then a script adapting team that fits it to flaps, make sure that it makes sense and stuff. So, and they're good. So for the most part, like we don't have to change really too much. But like if you're feeling it, you'll throw out an ad lib or something a little different, and it's just kind of up to the director if they want to keep it or not.
Yeah.
All right, I believe we have time for one more question. So,
Dude in the black jacket hasn't asked one yet.
There's two parts to this question.
Oh gosh.
it's a trap.
For someone who likes to draw and create their own characters, what advice would you give? Number one, to protect the character, and then number two, to actually like audition it, or how do they get it out there?
Protect the character?
You mean like filing for a copyright, or?
Yeah, and then they want to create their own characters and maybe team, or to get it out into anime world or whatever.
Man, I mean, I think what you like. If I were in your shoes and you had characters, I mean, I would file for copyrights. But I mean, a big. conventions can be a great source of networking. So that if you had characters and like basic ideas, and then walking around the convention floor, if you found someone else's artwork that you loved that happens to also do animation, collaboration is the easiest way to get things done. And that's probably what I would do. But that's a little out of my depth.
And now we're in a world where it's easy to, once you kind of have a completed whatever, you can put it up on Vimeo or YouTube or whatever and get immediate feedback and maybe immediately start getting ad revenue if people like it. So it's a good time to be alive, people.
Yeah.
It's a great time to be alive.
Wash your hands.
Yeah, stay safe and stay healthy.
Yep. Is that it?
See, I believe he was giving me the 2-minute the last time, so it's 12:50. So,
okay.
One quick question.
What is that?
That's the one you look.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. No.
Quick question.
Okay, if you could have your character say anything you want, no limits, what would they say? And bonus points if you could say it right now.
I would want Kaminari to say, "Objection!"
Overruled. Mount Lady, will you marry me?
Yeah!
Yes! Thank you!
You're welcome.
Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki, which do you think is most likely to a villain?
Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki?
Yeah.
I think Deku.
I'm shocked.
Because I think he'd be like someone would like brainwash him or something, and he'd be easy to like turn. Bakugo would be too obvious. Todoroki is way too cool to be a bad guy.
That's right. I think we've had this talk before, and you said that Bakugo would be way too obvious. Yeah, makes sense.
So you auditioned for the role of Bakugo, so could you do your best Bakugo impression?
It's just me screaming.
Do it.
It's just like, Deku, you idiot! I'm just not an angry person. Cliff is like the angriest man I've ever met. No, he's a nice guy. Yeah, I think it came through a little too much. So I was like, yeah, Kyle, you're just not angry enough. And I'm like, all right, cool, it's fine.
What are some dub shows that you guys really enjoyed or exemplify that awesome performance you wanted to be a part of?
Something that I am watching right now for pure bliss is Case File number 221, Kabukicho.
Yeah.
It is so good. David Wald's performance in that show is amazing. And of course, I mean, you got other, like Ian Sinclair plays Sherlock Holmes in it. In case you're not familiar with the concept, they've basically taken the characters and like structure and archetypes of Sherlock Holmes and dropped it into modern day Kabukicho. And it's insane. It is not for children. Do not let your children watch that show.
I play a former gangster named Kobayashi in that show.
Nice.
Had a good time. If you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop, you have to watch Cowboy Bebop. I feel like you can't call yourself an anime fan if you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
So watch that show.
I'm also watching Fire Force. It's really good. Like, and I watch it when I'm on the treadmill, and I don't know if it's the exhaustion from running, but I do find I feel myself swelling with pride with the work that's happened in the show, and I can hear my growth as an actor in the show, and I tear up. It's good. It's a good show.
All right, let's give it up for our amazing VAs.
Thank you.
Plus Ultra.
Plus Ultra.
Thank you. Woo.
Hey, this is Alex Malari Jr., and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Your Emperor commands it. Thanks for watching.